Hello everybody and welcome back to another Oscar prediction video where today I will be taking a look at the category of Best Live Action Short Film. So first of all, I would like to apologize. I don't know why, but every single year I have this expectation that I'm just gonna do a video a day, and then something always ends up happening and I end up missing at least a day and I have to get caught up at the end. Fortunately, I give myself a little bit of a buffer, and I usually put up the Best Picture video on the day of the Oscars, which is probably what's going to happen in this case. A lot of stuff has been going on in my personal life that is you certainly do not want to hear about. You want to hear about the Oscars, but it's just I'm going to try to get these videos out in a timely fashion, which means I should probably not waste any more time at the start of the video and get into the live action short category. I will say I really wanted to watch more of the short films this year. Last year, the vast majority of them were available online, but this year I'm really struggling to find most of them. Like, I've seen the two that are on Netflix, and there was one that I almost paid to watch and then was like, oh, who cares? I think next year I'm gonna like really commit and like try to go to the screenings of all the short films in theaters. But my financial situation is probably gonna be better next year than it is this year. So with that in mind, let's just start this category. Fifth most likely to win is Night of Fortune. So this one tells the story of two men striking up a friendship in a morgue when they're both visiting their recently deceased loved ones. This one has been considered a subtle comedy in a way. It's gentle humor, dark humor, and it seems like a very simple, sentimental thing that people like, people are affected by, but in comparison to the way the other shorts have been received, it seems like this is the least special of them. And maybe that's just going by public perception. It seems like people like this well enough, but this seems like, I want to avoid saying seems like, this is one of those things, it's one of those short films where it does what it sets out to do very effectively. You know what it is? This reminds me a whole lot of On My Mind from a few years back, where it's very simple, very sweet, it gets its message across effectively, but it doesn't do a whole lot more than that, and people are going to watch it and be like, that was nice, but not really feel compelled to vote for it. That's at least the vibe that I'm getting based on the way people are reacting to this particular short. So, but then again, in the short films category, you never truly know what's going to happen, and sometimes the one that you think is number 5 is actually the frontrunner to win. I don't think I was predicting this to get nominated. I don't think I had anywhere near the top 5, so sometimes you don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to say that this one is not winning. Fourth most likely to win is Invincible. So, Invincible is not the animated series about the superhero. This one involves a teenager in what is described as the final 48 hours of his life. It is based on a true story, and I've heard some very strong things about this one. I've heard that out of all the shorts, this is one that could conceivably be turned into a feature one day. People really do like the power. And like a lot of these shorts, not the most pleasant watch. A lot of them are very serious subject matters, and this one is powerful, is moving, tragic, but like tells its story well. I think it feels weird to say too tragic for this category considering some of the other contenders, but I think the other contenders in this category have a little bit more going for them, and I don't know how effective this one will be. I think this is one that people like and some will vote for, but I don't think it stands out to the same sense that the other nominees in this category stand out. So again, like the other one, I think this is fine, but I don't think people are going to be compelled to vote for it compared to the competition. Third most likely to win is The After. So this is one of the shorts that I was able to see. This one is on Netflix, and it stars David Oyelowo, which there were a lot of shorts on the short list this year that had big name talent attached to them. And I think this being starring David Oyelowo and having the Netflix backing it, that's basically how it got the nomination. And I've seen some very polarizing things in the response to this film. Some people say that it's very, very impactful, and other people say that it relies too much on shock value. Personally, I am in the latter camp. To me, this is one of those shorts where it begins with him and his daughter being cute, and his daughter's getting him to dance with her, and it's painfully obvious that this little girl has a red shirt with a target and is like going to die. It's so projected, and yet the way it happens is shocking, but also so abrupt. It's like, I don't know. To me, this one's just going for the jugular in the sense that it's just pure shock value. And it's just like, oh my god, look at this tragic thing that happened, and now look at him, he's in mourning. And I was kind of waiting for there to be a point to it, but no, the point is just that he's in mourning. And some people are like, this is legitimately powerful. And to be fair, a lot of the highlights people are pointing out is the performance by David Oyelowo, which is very strong, but I just don't really feel like there's any substance to this story other than dead child, vote for us. There was that one year where like all of the live action short nominees were about dead children, and I just feel like it's an easy factor to just manipulate voters into giving it a nomination. And so, yeah, I just don't think there's enough substance to this one. But that I've said that about shorts in the past that have gone on to win. It does remind me a little bit of that one with Riz Ahmed that's just like, injustice is bad, vote for us. And just showcasing an actor's performance. And I don't know. Some people are going to be very affected by this one. I was not. I personally do not think it stands a very good chance at winning. Second most likely to win is Red, White, and Blue. So this is a short that I could not find, but seems like a really interesting and powerful one, and it is by far the most timely of the shorts here, because it deals with a single mother who has an unplanned pregnancy and is trying to cross state lines in order to get an abortion. So obviously a very, very timely message at this moment in America. And a lot of people are going to be voting for it based on that message alone, and because it's the important one. And of course, there are a lot of Academy voters who don't want to vote for a story with this subject matter. We saw this a couple years back where they refused to even consider Never Really, Sometimes, Always. And so I don't know, this is still like a heavily debated topic, especially among older people and older voters, I imagine. So, I mean, a lot of the debate is going to be whether or not you agree with the subject matter, nevertheless, whether the film is good or not. And obviously, it's because it's very timely, it's going to get a lot of traction, it's going to get a lot of heads up, and it would be a great way to like send a message if this did win. Because the reason I don't think it can is because I think back to that Never Really, Sometimes, Always thing, but that movie was before the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and I do think now that it's more timely than ever, and now that we've seen what a big issue this is with voters, not movie voters, but like voters for other things, I mean, it could happen. I think if anything that's not the frontrunner wins, it'll be this one, and it'll be one of those send a message type wins. But it's not what I'm predicting. What I am predicting, number one most likely to win, is The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. So this one obviously has a big name attached to it in Wes Anderson. Also, the acting talents of Benedict Cumberbatch, Ben Kingsley, Dev Patel, Ralph Fiennes. It's a big deal for a short film to have this amount of attention on it. And when this was released on Netflix, a lot of people were talking about it. And here's the thing, Wes Anderson, previously Oscar-nominated director, I don't know if it's ever happened before that we've gotten someone nominated for Best Director and then they win for a short film. I think it's happened the other way around, but it is kind of weird. Wes Anderson is obviously very, very well respected. His past few movies, French Dispatch and Asteroid City, were not really able to connect with awards voters, but he definitely still has his fans out there. And I think just the idea of, hey, let's give Wes Anderson an Oscar because he's never actually won one yet, I think it is a compelling argument. And the short itself, I think it works. I think it's cute. It's an interesting way of telling a story because the actors are basically reading the Roald Dahl book, but with visuals to go along with it. And I think it is done in a very effective way. That people are... The story does come across, and the visuals, of course, are perfect because it's Wes Anderson, and you get that great flavor of Wes's storytelling. Outside of that, I sometimes it's just the biggest name. And that doesn't always help, like we saw this year with A Strange Way of Life, which was Pedro Almodovar and Pedro Pascal and Ethan Hawke, but people weren't fully on board with that short because of the way it ended. That movie was very much setting up that it was going to be a full story, and it doesn't give you the rest of the story. And this does tell a cohesive narrative. And I think enough people really like it, enough people really like Wes Anderson, that they're like, sure, let's give Wes Anderson his first Oscar for a short film category. For a director that's this eccentric, it does make sense in a weird way. So thank you very much for watching, and tune in next time when I will be taking a look at the category of Best Cinematography. See you then.